All right, so you want to dive into Pinterest, right? We've got their Q3 2024 Form 10Q.
Yeah, the 10Q.
So get ready to unpack, because like there's a lot going on, a lot of growth, but like also some, challenges.
It is really interesting, I think, what you see in this 10Q is, a company trying to figure out its place, in this fast-paced world of tech. They're mixing search and social media, even e-commerce, and meanwhile,
All while fighting off.
they're fighting off, yeah, some really big names.
It's a like digital Hunger Games out there.
Okay.
But okay, before we like get into the arena, let's just make sure everyone's on the same page. So Pinterest, you already know, they serve those ads right next to your search results, and it's been working for them. They brought in almost $900 million this past quarter. 898.37 cents to be exact.
Yeah, and that's a pretty significant jump, like 18% higher than the same time last year.
18%?
Yeah. So they're doing pretty well, and they're, getting better at making money from each user too. The global ARPU, their average revenue per user,
Right.
that went up 5%, hitting $1.70.
Okay, so more revenue, making more from each user? Sounds like a success story, right?
Well, I mean, it's a little more complicated if you really look into the 10Q. There are some things that, aren't as good. For example, the first 9 months of 2024, they actually had a net loss of $81.8 million.
Wow.
And this isn't just a one-time thing. Their accumulated deficit, it's at $2.14 billion.
Ouch. So a good quarter, yeah, but it doesn't just erase all those, longer-term financial issues.
Exactly. And then you got to think about the users, right? I mean, Pinterest, it depends on its monthly active users,
Yeah.
people using the platform.
I mean, MAUs.
The MAUs, yeah. And globally, it's good news. They hit 483 million, up 4% from last year.
Okay, so that's good.
It is, especially because their rest of world segment, that's showing the biggest growth, 7%. It seems like their international expansion is working.
That's smart, because here in the U.S. and Canada, their users actually went down 5% compared to last year.
Yeah, that's not great. That's their strongest market, and it's declining. They're definitely facing some headwinds.
Makes you wonder, right, if they're struggling to keep users because of the competition. I mean, they're going up against Amazon, Meta, Google, even X, what used to be Twitter. It's a lot of competition.
Yeah, and they're all huge companies with tons of users already and, a lot of money. And it's not just getting new users, it's keeping the ones you have engaged and coming back, The pandemic, it brought a lot of users to online platforms, but now, can they keep them?
Yeah, that's like, trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
But speaking of challenges, this 10Q, it lists some big risk factors, things investors should really pay attention to.
Yeah, one thing I notice is they rely a lot on just a few big advertisers, like in the consumer goods and retail sectors. If they lose just one or two of those big clients, it could really hurt their revenue.
Yikes. Putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And then there's data privacy, right? GDPR in Europe, CCPA, and CPRA here in California. They got to find a balance between using data for those targeted ads, but also respecting users' privacy.
That's a tough tightrope to walk for anyone relying on ad money.
It is. And on top of that, there's ad blockers. Those are getting, more advanced all the time.
Right.
Plus, people might just get, tired of ads.
Yeah.
So it's pressure from all sides, competitors, regulations, and also trying to make money off their platform. That's a lot to deal with. But it's not all bad news. Let's look at some of the things they're doing to try and handle these challenges, like their stock buyback program. They just approved a new one, $2 billion, replacing the $1 billion one from last year.
$2 billion. Wow. That's a big statement.
Yeah.
They must be feeling really confident about the future.
Yeah. It's a high stakes game for sure. Be interesting to see how that plays out. And they also just settled the legal thing, something to do with their early days. Cost them $34.7 million after insurance.
Huh. A little glimpse into their past makes you wonder, what else might be hiding back there. But I mean, every company has its growing pains.
Of course. Okay. So before we finish up this part of our deep dive, let's just quickly look at something called adjusted EBITDA.
Okay. Adjusted EBITDA. What is that and why should I care?
It's a way to look at their profitability, but it doesn't include certain costs and adjustments, accounting stuff. Think of it like seeing how healthy their core operations are, underneath it all. And for Pinterest, in Q3 2024, their adjusted EBITDA was $242.1 million. That's way higher than their actual net income.
So basically, looking past the one-time things and the accounting rules to see how the business is doing at its heart.
Exactly. And in this case, it shows that their core business, it's actually doing pretty well. even though the official numbers, they don't always show that.
So it's like mixed signals, right? They're growing revenue. They seem to be doing well, expanding internationally. But they've got these big challenges: competition, data privacy, keeping users engaged.
It's like they're at a crossroads. They've got everything they need to succeed, but can they, like, put it all together? That's the big question.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to keep digging, see what they're doing to, navigate these rough waters.
Let's do it. It's easy to just, look at those MAU numbers, but those are real people, right? With different interests, different ways they use the platform.
Yeah, like it's not just how many, it's who they are.
Exactly. Pinterest needs to get that. They got to know what people like in different places, different demographics, if they want to keep those users coming back.
Makes sense. What works for, like, a DIY person here in the U.S. might not work for someone into fashion in France.
For sure. Global trends, but also local stuff. And it seems they're doing okay with the international expansion, especially that rest of world segment.
Which is important because, like we said, their growth in the U.S. and Canada, it's kind of stalled.
Right. Can't just depend on their home market forever. But even with the right content, there's still the competition. They're up against, like, the biggest names out there.
It's a crowded space.
Yeah.
How does Pinterest, like, stand out, get people to choose them over all the other platforms?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's not just getting new users, it's keeping the ones they have interested. Got to be innovative, add new features, make sure Pinterest is the place to be for, visual discovery.
Speaking of new stuff, didn't they just buy that company, the one doing visual search? Seems smart, given what Pinterest is all about.
Yeah, that could be huge for them. Imagine taking a picture of, I don't know, a cool lamp you see somewhere, and then boom, Pinterest shows you similar ones you can buy right there.
Connecting inspiration to action.
Exactly, that seamless experience. But like we've been saying, all this is happening while, data privacy is a big concern. How's Pinterest handling that?
It's a tough one, right?
It is. It's like they need that user data for targeted ads, for personalizing the experience, but they got to follow all the rules, GDPR, CCPA, all those.
So they're like,
Kinda. It's a balance. They need to be upfront about what data they collect, how they use it, but also still make money from ads without making users, uncomfortable.
and then there's ad blockers. Another
Yeah.
thing to deal with.
Oh, yeah. People using ad blockers, it means Pinterest has to get creative. They can't just do the same old banner ads anymore.
It's like constantly trying to, like, outsmart the people they're trying to reach.
Right. And that's why you see them trying new stuff, partnering with brands, with influencers, even getting into e-commerce themselves so people can just buy what they see right on Pinterest.
Diversifying, basically.
Yeah.
Finding new ways to make money, but also give something valuable to users and advertisers.
Yeah. It has to be good for everyone. Users feel inspired, advertisers get results.
So Pinterest is doing a lot,
Hmm.
expanding internationally, improving their features, trying new technology, new ways to make money.
Trying everything they can. It'll be interesting to see, how it all works out in the long run.
They got it right. The competition's not going anywhere, and things change so fast online. But one thing I like is they seem to care about, doing good.
Yeah, they've been pretty vocal about, like, diversity and inclusion, fighting misinformation, being environmentally conscious.
Right.
They get it. Being successful isn't just about profits, it's about doing the right thing, too.
Being a good corporate citizen.
Exactly. They have work to do, but it's good to see them taking it seriously.
Doing well by doing good. But let's get back to those numbers for a sec. Q3 was good, but long-term profitability, that's still a question mark, right?
It is. They're not in the clear yet. The stock buyback, it shows confidence, but it also uses up cash, right? Cash they could be using for other things, other ways to grow.
Yeah, it's a gamble, right? Putting billions into buying back stock. But they've still got all these challenges, and they got to invest in the future, too.
It is a risk, yeah. But it can also help their stock price, keep investors happy, maybe even bring in new ones.
Yeah, it's all a balancing act. And speaking of that, let's talk about how they're trying to, be more than just pins and boards. E-commerce. They've been doing a lot with that lately.
Yeah, they have. I mean, it makes sense. People are already on Pinterest finding products, so...
Right. Why not just let them buy right there?
Exactly. It's like closing the loop, inspiration to purchase.
It is. But there's a lot of competition in e-commerce.
Yeah.
How do they compete with, like, Amazon?
That's the thing. They're not trying to be another Amazon. They're focusing on what they do well, that visual inspiration.
So it's like a curated shopping experience.
Yeah, more personalized. It's about those feelings people get when they see something they love on Pinterest.
The I want that feeling.
Exactly. And they're trying new technology too, augmented reality, so people can, like, try on products virtually. Imagine seeing how a new couch would look in your living room using AR.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Like high-tech window shopping.
Yeah. And it could be a big deal for Pinterest as they try to, make their mark in e-commerce.
Pushing boundaries for sure. But let's be real. They got to make money, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a business.
Of course. And that's where, we circle back to those financials. Q3 was good, but long term, can they be profitable? That's still the question.
Right. Big investments, but will they pay off? It's a high-pressure situation.
Yeah, but they're not just about the money. Like we talked about earlier, they want to do good too.
Right. That doing well by doing good thing.
Yeah. Diversity, inclusion, fighting misinformation, the environment. And they're pretty open about it, which is good to see.
Walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
And that actually could help them, in the long run. People, especially younger people, they like companies with values.
So it's about more than just profit. It's about making a difference.
Exactly. And maybe those two things, they can go together.
Maybe they can. Well, this deep dive has been really interesting. Pinterest, they've got potential, but also big challenges. It's a story about ambition, innovation, trying to stay ahead in a world that's changing so fast.
And the story's not over yet. Be interesting to see what happens next.
And that's our deep dive into Pinterest. Hopefully you have a better sense of where they are, the good and the bad, and where they want to go. It's all about finding the information, and sometimes you just need a little help understanding those, complicated financial reports. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.